Jay-Z, he decided, well, this actually happened quite some time ago. This happened, I believe, in 2022 or late 2021. And this is something that Jay-Z spoke on during his Twitter Spaces conversation with Alicia Keys. He hopped on Twitter, which is Twitter Spaces is like where, a bunch of people can get together, talk amongst each other. And Jay-Z decided to hop on there when Alicia Keys was hosting her Twitter Spaces event. And back then, he got asked, hey, if somebody were to do a versus with you, who could stand on that stage with you and actually compete with you? So all I've seen is quotes about Jay-Z and what he said. So I'm going to play you guys the actual audio so you guys hear it from Jay-Z's mouth himself. Because unfortunately, a lot of these platforms, they're just quoting it. They're not actually posting the audio. So I'm going to give you guys directly from Jay-Z's mouth what he said. Because somebody actually screen recorded it back in 2021. So let me play it.
Nobody can stand on that stage with me. I ain't gonna lie, no disrespect. Everyone's amazing and done what they done. No one can stand on that stage with me. I'm just telling you guys the real.
I feel you.
It's not a shot. There's not a chance in hell that anyone can stand on that stage with me for I don't know how long it is. 2 hours, 1 hour, 2 hours.
Right.
Look. You got to stand in front of the Grammy family freestyle live. No one's ever even seen me perform that. Like you got to stand in front of that. That ain't gonna never happen, man. Let's move on from Verzuz and let's get back to the this Keys album.
So yeah, the audio is a little bit distorted because of the recording probably, and the event. Sometimes that happens, but you heard it from Jay-Z's mouth. Nobody can stand on that stage with him because he can rap some freestyle that really not many people knew about until now. I'm dead serious right now. Let's see how much views that Grammy family freestyle has that he mentions in the fucking post. Okay. You got one 15 years ago, 2.1 million views. That's it. And you got the Hot 97 one at 393,000 views. So Jay-Z is referencing a freestyle that got 2.1 million views in 15 years. There are artists who've done freestyles that's gotten way more views and in way less time. Literally 50 Cent mixtape records that people barely know has gotten way more views than that. Like, let me search up. Let me just think of a 50 Cent freestyle. Look at this. G-Unit freestyles on Flex 11 years ago, 11 million views. 50 Cent freestyle Rap City, 3.7 million views. These are just random. I'm just searching up random ass stuff. So this is a freestyle that barely anybody has ever mentioned. Whenever I hear Jay-Z talk, I've never heard this freestyle in my life. Somebody mention it. Like, never. So Jay-Z mentions it, and then everybody's going crazy on social media on X. Oh, Jay-Z is going to destroy everybody in the verses. There's nobody that can... Listen, I hate to break this down to you guys and just hate to say this, but Jay-Z is the most overhyped in America ever that I've ever heard. And I'm not saying this to discredit him, but he is extremely overhyped. All of his number one hits are with a female. He doesn't have a single solo number one hit. And I know Versus isn't about hits. So first, let me break down what a Versus is, at least to me, what I think dictates somebody winning a Versus. It's song selection, being smart, because you get, I believe, 15 to 20 songs. On an actual Versus. You get about 15 to 20 songs. They're usually 2 hours long for the most part, besides the Cash Money one. They had to end that early. But you get about 15 to 20 songs. Let's just say 20 songs. You have to select, especially if you got a big catalog, which Jay-Z has, you have to select the proper 20 songs. Then how you perform those records, what kind of energy you come out with, that also dictates it. And then where you're at as well. Because if it's in New York, there's a bias there, obviously, because Jay-Z's from New York. Let's just say Jay-Z was competing, against Kanye West. Right? Some people have thrown that out there. Kanye West, Jay-Z. That would be a great one, right? Big brother versus little brother, right? If you're doing it in New York, there might be a bias towards Jay-Z and people might rock with Jay-Z more. If you're doing Chicago, there might be a bias towards Kanye and people might rock with Kanye more. You see what I'm saying? So location matters, execution matters, sequencing matters, stage presence matters. There's a lot of things that matter. So it's not just about number one hits, but you have to have hits to do a Versus. That's just the reality of the situation. And Jay-Z does have hits, but You have to ask the question, does he have bigger hits than certain artists? He has hits, but he doesn't have bigger hits. 50 Cent would beat Jay-Z in a Verzuz. There's no like, I don't see a way where people can actually view Jay-Z beating 50 in a Verzuz. 50's got records that literally transcend Jay-Z's career. In the club, transcends like 99.9% of hip-hop music. Just that record alone. That record alone comes on. It's still played to this day. Streams are crazy. It is, by the way, it still holds the record for the most played radio song in music history, by the way, since they were tracking. You got records like 21 Questions, Candy Shop, just a little bit. You got mixtape cuts that are out the wazoo that 50 has. The Kid of Wild. I'm just throwing random tracks out there. But yeah, he's got records. 50 would beat him. Now, I don't think anybody would wash Jay-Z. I was just throwing that out there as a troll saying that. But nobody would wash Jay-Z, but people can beat Jay-Z. For Jay-Z, I get what Jay-Z's saying, but he's like, Hova, I think I'm the best ever. Jay-Z's all right, man. Jay-Z makes great music. I respect him for his longevity. But Jay-Z right now currently ain't even musically relevant, man. He hasn't dropped an album since 2017. Hasn't done any tours. If he did, it was with his wife, Beyonce. Nobody's really checking for Jay-Z like that, man. His music hasn't. Let's see what Jay-Z's streaming is on Spotify. I'm curious to see what's his streaming like. Okay, so his biggest record, that's actually his song, is Empire State of Mind at 1.3 billion streams. And then Numb, Encore, Do You Want More at 1.2 billion. And then you got Run This Town. But the rest of the records that are up there, Umbrella, that reached 2 billion streams, that is Rihanna's track featuring him. Ninjas in Paris, I can't say the word, but you know what I'm talking about, with Kanye West, that's at 1.7 billion. So he's got about that his records. I mean, if you want to do the Paris record and Empire State of Mind, he's got 2 records that have reached over 1 billion streams, but he doesn't have any solo records that have done that by himself. There's really not a single solo. Let me actually see. Solo record, just Hard Not Life. That's at 275 million. So if Jay-Z didn't collaborate with Kanye West, Rihanna, Alicia Keys, and Beyonce, and Justin Timberlake, which are huge pop stars, by the way. We're talking about Rihanna. We're talking about Beyonce. We're talking about, well, Alicia Keys, she's had her moments. She's not as big as Rihanna and Beyonce, but we're talking about Justin Timberlake. Like, these are the biggest pop stars during that time, like, ever. Even Alicia Keys to a certain extent. And yet Kanye West pop, like, Kanye was selling more records than Jay-Z when he was popping. Kanye did 800 and something thousand off late registration. And that shit went like 4 or 5 times platinum. Jay-Z wasn't doing those kind of numbers. Jay-Z did the best Jay-Z sales he did was 600,000 with Reasonable Doubt. Or not Reasonable Doubt, Kingdom Come. That's it, 600,000. So, Jay-Z, I don't want to, this is going to sound like I'm disrespecting his career a lot by saying this, but really Jay-Z's career, if you really look at it, is just pure perfect timing of things. That's really what it is. He dodged a lot of album sales competition because he released albums when nobody was competing with him. He collaborated with the right pop stars at the right time and managed to work with them and figure them out, find them out and stuff. With Beyonce, he ended up being her husband. With Rihanna, he signed her to Def Jam, used her play on her music. Kanye West as a producer, then got on him. He basically was taking energy from a lot of these pop acts and making his career a lot longer than what it was. Because if Jay-Z was just doing solo records, you can look right here on the charts. It tells you right here his biggest solo record is Hard Not Life at 275 million streams. That's it. 275 million is a solo record. Everything else is features and songs that aren't even his songs for the most part. Besides Run This Town, which has Kanye West and Rihanna, Empire State of Mind, which has Alicia Keys. So he's relied heavily on circumstances that he's just timed things well. And really just a lot of his career some of it was just pure luck. Biggie and Tupac dying literally paved the way for Jay-Z to do what he's doing. Like, had they been alive, would Jay-Z really be would he be that big of an artist that where people are like going crazy over? You see what I'm saying right now? It does sound like I'm belittling his career. Like I'm doing just But that's literally what Ish said on Joe Budden's podcast about 50's career. Oh, nobody's competing with him. 50, that's why he had a dominant run. No, if you can belittle any career like I'm doing right now. But I mean, what I'm saying is true, by the way. I don't believe I'm lying here. If Pac and Biggie died, Jay-Z would not be as big as he is. That's just, I'm willing to bet $1 million trillion on that. Second, timing of when he's done things has really been convenient. He's released albums when he's not really competing with anybody. And then third, he just got in at the right time at the right situation sometimes. Being at Def Jam, he used Rihanna to help, with her career. He helped her career, but then used her to help his career. Marrying Beyonce, that definitely skyrocketed his career. Without Beyonce, I don't think he would be as big or as known. Beyonce's way bigger than him. That's just reality. Then, got with the right female and make Empire State of Mind. So he relied on a lot of different artists to help him throughout his career. And people look at him like he's this oh, he's figured it out, he's done everything. No, like he relied. Look at Eminem, look at Kanye West, look at Drake, look at 50 Cent. Shit, look at Ludacris, look at Nelly. Well, Nelly, I guess you could kind of, because he did a lot of Kelly Rowland collabs, but Eminem's got so many records just solo him that done insane numbers with no help of having a pop star featured next to him like now that he does in his career. But back then, Lose Yourself, Till I Collapse, Clean Out My Closet, Mockingbird. These are all solo records of him. These are billions of streams. You got 50, Candy Shop, which featured Olivia, which is his artist who's like barely was known. She wasn't a Rihanna or Alicia Keys. Like 50 could have easily went with, a different artist, put Alicia Keys on that Candy Shop record and would have done insane numbers. He could have put any type of female that was buzzing at the time on that record and would have done way bigger numbers. But he put his own artist on there, which was a good move. But regardless, let's just still throw Candy Shop out of there, right? 21 Questions has Nate Dogg on it. Was Nate Dogg really, really that big of a hit maker that he was just on every single hit record? He was a great on hooks, but he wasn't out here like Rihanna and Kanye West selling 800,000 first week and Diamond Records. That's not to belittle Nate Dogg, by the way. I'm just saying there's statuses of levels. So 50 had Nate Dogg on 21 Questions. Okay, that's not a solo record. So you got Just a Little Bit, you got In the Club, you got Many Men. PIMP is a solo record, then the remix with Snoop Dogg. What else? You got I Get Money, another solo record. Out of Control, another solo record that did well. Like you got 50 has solo records like crazy. Who else did I mention? Ludacris has a lot of solo records. Who else did I mention at the time? Kanye West, for a certain extent, dude, he had Can't Tell Me Nothing, stronger solo record. Through the Wire, Jesus Walks. I think Jesus Walks, if I remember correctly. But he had records like that were solo records, man, that did well. Jay-Z didn't. Jay-Z had to rely heavily on features to get his career where he's at. And the fact that Jay-Z is like, nobody can stay on this Verzuz stage with me. Like, bro, you're like, if it wasn't for these females helping you, you would not be at the level that you're at, not even remotely close musically. You just wouldn't. Nobody would be checking for Jay-Z's music like that. Right now, you ask the kids, they don't even know who the fuck Jay-Z is. Some people know. They only know him as an Empire. Look on Twitter. They only know him as an Empire State of Mind. Oh, this New York guy made this New York record. Or, oh, he's Beyonce's husband. Because he hasn't dropped an album since 2017, a solo album since 2017. Let that sink. That's a long-ass time, guys. I'm not even saying this to hate or anything. I'm being genuinely like, that's a long time. Literally in 2 years, we're looking at 10 years. 8 years has been so far. You could make the argument, oh, what about, 50 has dropped an album, but 50 is actually touring. He's on social media. He's doing TV shows. He's doing interviews. So he's still out there, letting his name. Jay-Z doesn't do interviews, isn't on social media, doesn't do anything. So, yeah, that's at least my take on it. I think Jay-Z's a little too cocky. I think there's a lot of artists that could, just depends on how things are sequenced. I think Eminem could beat him. I think Kanye West could beat him. I think Lil Wayne could beat him. I think Drake could beat him. I think 50 Cent could beat him. I'd have to think of more, but those artists to me could beat him. Like, that's not even a question. There's a few more that I'd have to look, because I'm not saying that Jay-Z can be beat by everybody, but let's keep it 100 here. Lil Wayne has so many records, and people actually fuck with Wayne, the newer generation, even though they don't like the newer music for the most part. They still know Wayne's catalog really well. So Wayne could do a great job. Kanye could do a great job. Drake could do a great job. Eminem could do a great job. 50 could do a great job. Those 5 off the rip could beat Jay-Z. And then you could argue about other ones, but it's funny to me because on social media, people are like, no, like Jay-Z's the greatest and this, that. I'm like, dude, you guys, so I'm glad to see some pushback on Jay-Z because honestly, it's been way too much of Jay-Z's this, Jay-Z's this, Jay-Z's the greatest, this, Jay-Z. Like, we get it, man. Jay-Z, Grammy Family Freestyle, cool. We never heard of it until now, basically. I never seen anybody mention that fucking freestyle when they're mentioning Jay-Z. Never. And prove me wrong. If you can find me tweets that people, when they're debating Jay-Z on a versus, that they mentioned a Grammy Family Freestyle before Jay-Z mentioned it, then you got me. I'll be like, all right. But nobody was mentioning that fucking freestyle, bro. He's acting like that freestyle is like fucking one of the greatest freestyles of all time. Like he's out here rapping bar for bar, but he knows that freestyle. Come on. But that's my take on it. Like I said, no disrespect to Jay-Z. I do, regardless of everything I said, he is a top 10 rapper, period. Like, there's no debate in that. I could see why people even have him in the top 5, even in the top 3. He's not in my top 10, but I'm just saying I understand that. I have no issue with somebody being like, oh, Jay-Z's my favorite, or that Jay-Z's a top 5 rapper of all time, or top 10. No issue with that. I can understand your perspective because his longevity, he's dropped a lot of music. And I'm not saying the music's not ass. Let's just keep it a buck. It's great music, but to where some people put him at, where like he destroys everybody and no. I that's where I draw the line. But that's my take on it. And we'll see what happens. Hopefully there's a new versus, and it'd be interesting, man. If they could pull off somebody like a Lil Wayne versus somebody, or T.I. versus somebody that's I know there's a lot of 50 Cent and T.I. comparisons, which is I think disrespectful because 50's a different tier versus T.I. They need it. That'd be cool if they can get something like that, man. You got to pay these artists a lot of money to do that, but that would bring in insane numbers, insane promo, insane revenue. So, we'll see what happens moving forward.